I hope everyone out there is beating the heat, staying hydrated, and enjoying their pickleball during the hotter summer months. Today I want to dive into the topic of paddle shape and how that affects your paddle's feel and performance. A lot of people are talking about materials or the configuration thereof. That seems to be in the news quite a bit in terms of paddle construction, but weight is another one, and as many of you know, shape also affects. For anyone that wants to know a little bit more on it, let's start with this paddle right here. We're gonna go from shortest to longest. We would consider this more of a compact paddle shape due to the guideline or rule of a 24-inch overall dimension. There's somewhat of a restriction. You can only make the paddle, say, as long as 16 inches, and then the maximum width could be 8. Now you could go under that, but you just can't go over. This particular paddle here, I again would refer to as a classic or a compact shape. 15.75 overall. We've got a 525 handle, and then this is 8 inches across. So you're getting a huge sweet spot. And what a shorter paddle basically gives a player is a sweet spot that's a little closer, proximal to the hand. So a lot of players will concede that they feel a little more connected to the ball or their shots playing with a more compact shape. And I would also say that it allows you to maneuver or maneuver the paddle a little bit more, maybe accommodate a little bit more weight. Keeps the paddle a little more on the agile side. On the other side of it, not necessarily a downside, when you have a wider span from 3 to 9, it's gonna be more stable. A lot of people like to talk about twist weight, and it's the paddle's ability to resist twisting back and forth on off-center contact of the ball. So you're gonna get a little better stability in that way on the roll, and you're gonna get a little bit more agility on the swing. And the next one up, I chose another very similar paddle. This one here, as opposed to the Crushrqt Epic Amped Pro. This one here is the Volair Mach2 14mm version. And this one also is a compact shape. This is using the full 8 inches across the width and the 16 inches on the length. So again, these are very similar paddles. You can see here, I guess we can talk about the cutout in the throat. That affects the shape. That's going to allow more airflow. I would also say that allows the paddle to steady itself in the wind a little bit better in a static position. But overall, these are very similar paddles. And again, you're getting a huge sweet spot. Your hand is very proximal to the sweet spot. A lot of players really enjoy this shape. My boss here is an incredible pickleball player, definitely likes the compact shape as well. And onto it, we're just gonna move to a little longer length. I would call this a fusion shape. It's not really traditional compact. It's not really elongated. This one here is about 16.14 or 15 inches long. This happens to be my paddle of choice, Master Athletics P3. And this one here is just kind of playing with a little shorter span across here, a little more length-based power. So as the paddle gets longer, you're able to garner more what I would call leverage. Obviously paddles are levers, so you're using it that way. So you're getting more potential of tip speed and power out of it that way. But by virtue that it is a little narrower across the span from 3 to 9, it's gonna be a little less stable. Probably the twist weight's gonna be a little lower that way. And on to the next one, we're looking at the Bob-A-Lot Baller Plus here. This is another fusion shape, just a tad over 16 inches. Very easy, fun to swing paddle. Again, it's just kind of right in between a traditional compact shape and a truly elongated shape, which we'll get to next here in just a minute. But this paddle is just, like it says, it's a fusion type. It's not really long, not really short. It's right in between. This paddle here happens to be very easy to play with as well. So if you're a little uncertain about which extreme you want to go to, these are great paddle shapes to try. And then on to a truly elongated design. We're looking at an Amped Pro Invicta here. You can see the cutout on the throat. The main thing I wanted to discuss is the fact that this is almost 16.5 or maybe 16.4 inches, and it's about 7.4, 7.5 against across 3 to 9. So this one's definitely giving you more leverage or length-based power. And then for a lot of people that prefer to roll their shots. So the lack of stability this way, the lower twist weight, is actually a benefit for those who are really trying to do speed up volleys, roll their volleys from anywhere in the court, that kind of thing. So you're getting more stability and power on the swing. And with an elongated design, you're getting a little less stability on the twist part of it, which actually can be a benefit if you really like to aggressively roll your volleys near the kitchen line. And last but not least, I brought out what I would call the longest paddle that I've played with. This one's full 17 inches. This is the Crushrqt, the racket. This one is definitely kind of leaning towards capturing or gravitating tennis players to a pickleball paddle. We're looking at full 17 inches length, 7 inches across, so it's very narrow. And as I was discussing with the narrower span across 3 to 9, you're definitely able to rock this paddle back and forth and roll your shots. In addition, this one has got an extremely long handle, plenty of room for 2 hands on the paddle. And that is basically how this works. Again, a lot of people like to talk about materials, like to talk about weight. The way I can really determine if a paddle is going to benefit my game or not is if the whole family of paddles utilizes the same technologies and materials, and then I'm able to use the shape as a way to determine which one that I enjoy the most. So if you enjoyed this content, you'd like to learn anything else more about pickleball paddles or anything else pickleball related, be sure to visit totalpickleball.com.